There is a question that not everyone can answer. Could there exist a car weighing more than 2 tons, carrying within it a massive V8 engine, yet being the forefather of the front-wheel drive models we see today? The answer does not lie in compact, fuel-efficient cars, but in an icon born from the era when Detroit still stood at the peak of mechanical power: the 1966 Oldsmobile Toronado. In the world of American cars in the 1960s, where power was always sent to the rear wheels, the Toronado appeared like a shock, a pioneer bold enough to challenge the old path. It was not only a luxurious two-door coupe, it was a statement that the future could be created through boldness. Today, we will open that old film reel once more to explore why the 1966 Toronado is considered the most innovative model of the 1960s and how it quietly changed the entire landscape of the American automotive industry. To understand more about the boldness of the Toronado, we need to go back to the context of Detroit after World War II, the time when Oldsmobile was opening a new era of power and technology. In that period, Oldsmobile was not just a brand within the General Motors family. They were the laboratory of boldness, where young engineers nurtured the ambition of pushing America into the age of modern mechanics. And their greatest achievement, the rocket V8 engine, completely changed the way Americans thought about speed and power throughout the 1950s. But when stepping into the 1960s, customer needs shifted. Americans wanted a car not only powerful, but also luxurious, smooth, and carrying a personal identity. The personal luxury segment began to boom with names like the Ford Thunderbird and Pontiac Grand Prix, forcing Oldsmobile to create something superior. And that was when the Toronado project was born, an idea so daring that even people inside GM were not sure it could succeed. A large two-door coupe, weighing more than 2 tons, yet using front-wheel drive. A design that almost ran counter to every technical standard in America at that time. Yet, it was precisely that boldness that made history. When the Toronado debuted in 1966, it did not merely break the old order. It opened an entirely new future for American automobiles. When Oldsmobile's engineers decided to bring front-wheel drive to a coupe weighing more than 2 tons, they knew the most difficult part did not lie in the idea, but in making it operate stably, durably, and strong enough to withstand the enormous torque of the rocket V8 engine. Therefore, the entire drivetrain system of the Toronado was redesigned from the foundation, creating a completely new architecture called the Unitized Power Package. At the core of this system was the longitudinal engine layout. But instead of sending power straight to the rear through a drive shaft, the torque was directed sideways through a high-vo steel chain. This was an industrial chain capable of extremely high load, designed with V-shaped links to increase contact area and reduce slip. The high-vo's task was to transfer all torque from the torque converter to the TH425 automatic transmission, which was mounted transversely, parallel to the engine. The TH425 was essentially a shortened and reversed version of the TH400 transmission, but designed to withstand greater loads, with the differential integrated in the same housing. Here, power from the engine went into the torque converter, through the high-vo chain and into the planetary gear set of the transmission. From the transmission, power was split to the front differential, housed together with the transmission, and then delivered to the 2 drive half shafts. The important point lay in the asymmetric half-shaft layout. In high-power FWD cars, the difference in length between the 2 half shafts usually causes torque steer. But on the Toronado, Oldsmobile used an intermediate shaft, and special joints to balance torsional load, reducing the difference in force acting on the two front wheels. The result was a more even torque distribution, minimizing directional pull during hard acceleration. In addition, the front suspension was designed to carry the full primary role, steering, transmitting drive force, and absorbing impacts. Oldsmobile used deep-set torsion bars combined with heavy-duty control arms, creating a structure stiff enough to manage torque load, but still flexible enough to deliver the smoothness expected from a luxury coupe. Another technical factor often overlooked but extremely important was packaging space. By eliminating the driveshaft running down the length of the car, the entire drivetrain was contained at the front. This allowed the creation of a completely flat floor, a direct result of not needing a driveshaft tunnel or a rear differential. Not only for comfort, the flat floor helped reduce resonance and vibration entering the cabin, since the major rotating components were all located at the front. Finally, the cooling and lubrication system was also redesigned to suit the combined longitudinal transverse drivetrain layout. The TH425 transmission had a dedicated oil cooler, and the fluid lines and cooling channels were arranged separately to maintain stable temperatures during continuous high-torque operation. Overall, the Toronado's front-wheel drive system was not a variation of existing technology, but an entirely new architecture, where every detail, from the high-vo chain to the placement of the differential, was designed to solve one problem: how to let a massive V8 pull the entire car using only two front wheels with stability and durability. From the very moment the Toronado appeared, people did not see it as a new car. They saw it as a familiar silhouette stepping out from America's golden past. The design inspiration of the Toronado did not come from the contemporary cars of the 1960s, but from an icon nearly 30 years older, the Cord 810/812, the car that astonished the world in 1936 with its front-wheel drive layout and its futuristic beauty ahead of its time. The Toronado inherited that spirit, not by copying it, but by interpreting it in a way that suited Detroit's high-horsepower era. Viewed from the front, the car carries a calm, powerful presence. The horizontal slotted grille, integrated seamlessly into the front bumper, creates the feeling that the car is gliding forward even while standing still. The entire headlamp assembly is hidden behind flat covers, a set of concealed headlights that, when activated, open like the eyelids of a gigantic mechanical creature. Along the sides, the Toronado impresses with its continuous fastback roofline, sweeping from the front windshield all the way to the rear edge, creating a form that is both aerodynamic and futuristic. The wheel arches stand distinctly apart from the body, rising like steel muscles, emphasizing the massive size of the special 9.00 by 15 tires. Every crease on the Toronado's body carries intention, not merely to look beautiful, but to evoke the sense that the car is always in motion. The rear of the car delivers an entirely different emotion: soft, elegant, almost the opposite of the aggressiveness at the front. The taillights stretch across the full width, creating a presence that is grand yet balanced. The long body proportions, wide hips, and low roof give it a stance solid as a block of stone, a design aesthetic impossible to confuse with any European car of its time. Inside the cabin, the design language continues to honor American luxury. The sweeping dashboard with its rolling drum gauges, the gleaming metallic switches, the slender two-spoke steering wheel, everything blends into a space that feels both classic and modern, as if Oldsmobile wanted the driver to step into a car of the future while still preserving the soul of the 1960s. The Toronado is not merely beautiful, it is beautiful in a way that makes viewers pause for a few seconds just to take in every line. And that is its visual power. Bold, continuous, and unlike anything else that appeared on American roads at the time. After the big explosion named the 1966 Toronado, Oldsmobile entered a period of refinement and completion of this pioneering model. The year 1967 began with Oldsmobile optimizing the drivetrain. The 425 cubic inch rocket V8 engine had its torque adjusted, increasing from 475 pound-feet to about 480 pound-feet, while the horsepower remained at 385. This was not a significant numerical increase, but it showed that GM focused on throttle response and smoothness in the low RPM range. The TH425 transmission was also refined in its gear system to deliver power more smoothly. In terms of design, the concealed headlights were improved to open faster, the grille changed slightly, and the interior received softer materials. 1967 was also the year Cadillac used this same platform and drivetrain to create the Cadillac Eldorado, proving the reliability of the UPP technology. Moving into 1968, the Toronado received a major technical change. Oldsmobile transitioned to the 455 cubic inch V8 engine, one of GM's legendary power plants. Horsepower decreased slightly to 375, but torque increased to 510 pound-feet. This was an intentional shift. Oldsmobile wanted this luxury coupe to have abundant low-end pulling power, fitting the driving style of light throttle, effortless glide. The ignition system, fuel pump, and compression ratio were optimized to meet the late 60s emissions requirements. The 1968 exterior changed only slightly. A revised logo, a refined grille, and sharper taillights. The year 1969 continued as a year of refinement. The 455 engine was tuned to increase stability on long journeys, reduce vibration, and improve smoothness in the mid-speed range. Horsepower and torque remained unchanged. 375 horsepower, 510 pound-feet. Oldsmobile focused on the durability of the TH425 transmission, adding larger oil cooling plates for heavy load conditions. The 1969 design was minor refinement: a wider front grille, a stronger front bumper, and sharper body lines. The interior received power-adjustable seats and darker wood trim, creating a more luxurious feel. The year 1970 marked the biggest change since the Toronado's debut, especially in the exterior. The concealed headlights, the Toronado's design signature, were removed. They were replaced with conventional exposed lamps, matching new market trends and simplifying the electrical mechanism. But the most notable point was the appearance of the W34 performance package. With a larger carburetor, a high-performance cam, and an improved exhaust system, the Toronado W34 reached 400 horsepower and about 500 pound-feet of torque, making it the most powerful version of the first FWD generation. Accompanying it were standard front disc brakes, an optimized differential, and a sport-tuned suspension in the GT package. Additionally, the 1970 Toronado received improvements to the cooling system, a larger radiator, and a stronger electric fan, addressing the high-temperature issues of large displacement engines during continuous operation. When looking back at the journey of the 1966 to 1970 Toronado, we clearly see that this model was not merely a bold experiment by Oldsmobile, it was the meeting point between tradition and the future, between pure mechanical strength and progressive engineering thinking. Toronado was proof of an era when Detroit dared to exceed limits, dared to ask, what if we did things differently? With the strongest front-wheel drive system in America at that time, Toronado proved that a large, heavy car carrying a massive V8 could still operate stably and smoothly using only 2 front wheels. That success opened a new mindset in industrial design, laying the foundation for the shift toward FWD cars in America 2 decades later, when fuel efficiency and space optimization became dominant trends. In terms of design, the Toronado left its own legacy, a unique visual beauty where boldness met elegance. The aerodynamic lines, the concealed headlights, the seamless fastback body, all created a design language that collectors today still regard as one of the most iconic of the 1960s. But perhaps the greatest legacy of the Toronado lies in the spirit it represents. It is the spirit of a Detroit unafraid of experimentation, unafraid of failure, and always ready to move forward. A Detroit of people who believed that steel, machine oil, and imagination could create the future. And thanks to the Toronado, that future arrived much earlier than anyone had imagined. Thank you for accompanying this journey back through time. It is your support, from those who love cars, love history, and love the roar of a V8 engine, that has allowed the channel to continue to exist and grow. If you want to see more stories about classic cars that carry within them the soul of Detroit's golden age, please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next video. And before you leave the video, I want to ask you one thing. What do you think about the design of the Toronado compared to modern cars today? Leave a comment. I truly look forward to hearing your story.